everyone, I'm Dawn. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for visiting with me. Welcome to my car. I thought we'd do a bit of a car vlog. Oh no. Is that Waffle House out of business? Oh no, there are lights on inside it. Sometimes Waffle House looks out of business. But okay, so I thought we'd talk a few minutes. I am going to do a more, I don't want to use the word formal, but I'm going to use it with lack of a better term. I'm going to do a more formal video regarding Ryan Anderson's leaked text and his live that followed it. But I thought we could just chat, talk about some random things when it comes to Gypsy Rose. You know, what was that? Oh, I think it was just the sun doing its thing. Ryan said in his live stream that he wasn't desperate. Reaching out to Gypsy while she was in prison wasn't desperate. I mean, he has to understand why that looks desperate to us. Dragon! I mean, he has to realize that does come across as very, very desperate. Writing fan mail to inmate in a prison for unaliving her mother. You know what I mean? That looks desperate. That's like, oh, well, women are hard to get. I guess I better get me one on the inside. See, and in my opinion, and I know I've said this before, I feel like Ryan is toxic, and I feel like he has a toxic attitude towards women. I think he thinks women are to be treated as property once they're claimed. Do you know what I mean? That's just the feeling I get just from his attitude, you know, and this whole, I'm a man and I'm gonna beat Ken's ass. That whole kind of just attitude is just so... I've known men like that. I've known men that have acted just like that, and they treat women, females, girls like property. Okay, and that's where I stand with Gypsy. She never belonged to Ryan. She was never property. And I feel like he views women, once they're, like I said, once they're claimed, I think he views them as property. And that's just not it, boy. And he better change that attitude. And he may go on a live stream and say, you know, I don't think of women as property or whatever, but he's never going to convince me, because I've seen with my own two eyes his behavior and his attitude and his, just, what in the hell is happening? Just the way he acts as far as women are concerned. Just my opinion. Just an observation I've made from being on this planet for 54 years and knowing men like him. That's just based on that. And I think he needs work. Because there's one thing to say, oh, this is my wife, to say, my wife. You know what I mean? It's kind of disgusting, actually. And I know maybe I'm being a little hard on him or whatever, but he needs someone to be hard on him, because he is a big, huge baby, for one, and I feel like he thinks the world owes him something. And I find him to be rude. I think he's a very rude person. Sometimes I've seen him be very nasty to his supporters. Like, okay, fancy, you know, people are supporting you and you're going to be nasty to them? And they shouldn't be supporting you? Honestly, so what? He was dumped. He shouldn't get millions of supporters just because he was dumped. So what? I think, I really feel most of you women out there, if you were with him for any length of time, you'd be dumping his ass too. You know? I don't get good vibes from him. I don't get good vibes from someone that writes to a woman in prison who is there for unaliving her mother and then marries her while she's still in prison before he gets to even go on one date with her, you know? That's weird to me. It doesn't happen like, love doesn't happen like that. That is not how love happens. It's ridiculous. I know I'm being a bitch, but he's ridiculous. He's ridiculous to me. And he talked about, again, how it wasn't desperation reaching out to Gypsy Rose while she was in prison, and that he was able to get women. Like, it was really important to him that we know he can get women. Okay, you can get women. Fine. Why don't you get one? Why'd you have to get one straight out of prison? You can get you can get women, yet you marry one while she's still in prison? Before you even get to go on one single date, before you even know her, there's no way you could even get to know someone well enough to know if you're in love by that period. That was an infatuation, and that's all. Infatuation. It's not how love works. That's not how adult relationships are formed. It's just not. It's just not. I think he's ridiculous. So, whatever. I feel like Ken, even though she was in prison when they first dated, or, well, they weren't dating because you got to go places to date, but when they first became a couple, I feel like Ken had more time to get to know her and more... I don't know. I don't think Ken's the sharpest tool in the shed either, actually. But remember when she said the D is fire? It's not supposed to cause a burning sensation, Gypsy. That's a bad sign. I think that Ryan thinks he's a bigger deal than he really is. I mean, I think he really thinks he's hot shit. You know? My mom... And I'm just saying what my mom said. I don't say this. I don't talk like that. But my mom, one time, well, it wasn't one time. It was a common saying of hers. She would say, she thinks she's hot shit. She's really just a burnt fart. Mother. But anyway, yeah, my mom would say that about Ryan. That he thinks he's hot shit, but he's really a burnt fart. That may be a saying other people will use, but I've never heard anyone else say that, so, but my mother. But, so Thanksgiving is coming up. What are y'all looking forward to with Thanksgiving? I don't care about Thanksgiving at all. I'm making my brother a peanut butter pie, and we're going to his house, but I don't care about Thanksgiving at all. I care about the Macy's Day Parade. Well, I say that every year, but then I never watch it. Thanksgiving just isn't anything to me. It just never has been. It's just a couple days off that I'm going to enjoy. It's just a blip. It's just a blip between Halloween and Christmas. Oh, and then I want to talk about when Gypsy... when she was making that video about, that's my husband, he's slapping a girl's ass, that's my husband. I wanted to talk about that. First of all, I feel like women, particularly TikTok women, will be or are currently reaching out to Ryan because they're hoping they'll get some kind of clout with that. That's what I believe, because people are shitty and they will do that. You know, I'm just saying. I'm not saying this woman whose ass he slapped was doing that. I'm just saying women are going to be willing to let him slap their ass on camera. So, and that's degrading too. You know, I know it was just playful fun, but really you're going to let a man slap your ass on video and let that be published? Come on, have some self-respect. Sorry, I don't know that woman. I think that's very lacking in self-respect. was in all good fun, and, you know, all in good fun is what I'm trying to say, and a joke and all that. But still, the shit I see women put up with in social media just drives me nuts. I'm not even trying to make a big deal about it. I think it's disrespectful. I think it lacks self-respect, and it's disrespectful for him to do that. I just think it is. You know, that's just me, and that's just the way I am, and that's the way I believe. So that's the way it is. But I do understand what Gypsy was saying. She was trying to say, and now I'm going to try and say it. She was trying to say that he was always like, that's my wife, because women are property to him. He thinks women should be property. That's my wife. My wife. Ken stole my wife. Ken does. But first of all, Ken didn't steal Gypsy. Ken didn't steal Gypsy. You can't steal a human being. She wasn't abducted. She's not being held against her will. Gypsy chose to leave Ryan. So if he wants to blame someone for breaking his heart, it was Gypsy that did that. Her family wasn't keeping her away from him. She was done with Ryan. She chose to leave him, as is her right. Because no woman, once she's not in prison anymore, I guess, doesn't deserve to be treated like property. And I just feel like that's how he treated her. You know? I mean, say what you want about Gypsy Rose. She doesn't deserve to be treated like a thing. Well, maybe she does. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to make a video about that later. But I do understand what she was trying to say in her video. And the rules are different for men than they are for women. Particularly in certain cultures. And it's frustrating and it pisses me off. But, you know, Ryan does seem to blame everyone else except for Gypsy. It's like he doesn't want to see her in any kind of negative light. Even though I think dumping him and leaving him, I don't think that is what puts her in a negative light necessarily. Because from all I've seen, he needed to be dumped. But that's not what paints a negative light on her for me. The whole, you know, that's just not it. And I understand what she was trying to say with her video where she was talking about him and slapping that woman's ass. I do understand what she was saying. And I think that she should have thought about that and not said it, knowing how people were going to react to her saying it. Because if it was Sabrina Carpenter's man that did that, like, I mean, she's still together with Barry, I think. But if he did that and she made a video like that, everybody would be like, yeah, Sabrina Carpenter, you know. I'm just saying. All right, I gotta run in the store. But anyway, I want to go back to that Sabrina Carpenter example I used. That's not really a good example. I mean, in a situation where if she had dumped Barry in the same way that, if the scenario was the same as Gypsy's, except that Sabrina Carpenter is Sabrina Carpenter. You know what I mean? I think that people's opinion would be shifted in her favor a little bit. Speaking of Barry, have you all seen Saltburn? What a movie. And I was warned so much. I was warned, don't watch it. Don't watch it. It's a great movie, but don't watch it. If it's a great movie, why wouldn't I watch it? And everybody was so disturbed and upset about it. And maybe I'm like a degenerate or something, because I was like, what is happening? It didn't shock me, or it didn't make me feel any kind of way, really, you know. I mean, I think I was appropriately grossed out when I was supposed to be, but I wasn't affected by it as other people were, I guess. I thought it was a brilliant movie. I thought it was a great movie. I liked it a lot, actually. I just was like, it's really not that upsetting to me. But, you know, maybe it's the Serbian film effect. Go watch Serbian film. Go watch Trauma. Then watch Saltburn. You'll see things a little more differently, I think. Now, I do not recommend a Serbian film. It is upsetting. That is an upsetting movie if you haven't seen it already. And then there's another movie called Trauma that is also very upsetting. Another movie that might upset people. It didn't really bother me too much, but people said it was really upsetting. Now I can't even remember the name of it. Well, like, people are really disturbed by Human Centipede. You know, all three of those movies. And they don't upset me that much. I mean, I think it's gross and sick, but it doesn't cause any kind of reaction from me. There is a movie, and most of you may have heard of it. It's called Sleepers. And Jason Patric, Robert De Niro, Brad Pitt, Kevin Bacon, Minnie Driver, who else is in it? There's a lot of big names in it. That movie upset me a lot. And when I met Jason Patric last year, everybody was talking to him about Lost Boys. I was talking to him about Sleepers. Like, that movie was so upsetting to me. And he goes, it is an upsetting movie. And I told him, I said, it's brilliant. It's a wonderful movie. It's a great movie, but it was so upsetting. You know? And I'm like, me and my sister wanted to watch it one night, and we just saw that you were in it, and that was all we needed. It was like, ooh, some Jason Patric, yes. And we're watching it, and we're like, this isn't a very happy movie. I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be a happy movie, but we didn't know it was going to get as dark as it did get. If you like dark movies with a little bit of a disturbing backstory, I recommend Sleepers because it is a brilliant movie. It's a very good movie, but it's... My hair's falling out. But it is a sad movie. And it's a sad movie because... I don't want to spoil it, but so I'm just going to say spoiler warning just in case I do spoil it. There's no true resolution. I mean, there is, spoiler warning, a form of revenge, but I feel like it's very unsatisfying revenge. Like, it's still not satisfactory. But then I think that may be in the idea that the type of thing that happened to the people in this movie could never truly be avenged. You know? It might be in way too convoluted. I'm just trying not to spoil it. Just go watch Sleepers. It's a really good movie. There's a lot of cluster effery happening up here. So back to Thanksgiving. Do y'all do anything Thanksgiving night, like after dinner? We usually go to the big shopping center, even though it's all shut down, and just walk around it just for fun. But we might not do that this year because we're going to have a late Thanksgiving dinner. My brother lives about an hour away from us, so we may not do that. You know, gone are the days where people would be sleeping out on the sidewalks in front of Best Buy and stuff. Because we used to like to just kind of go out there and see all those people, see how crazy they were to, to save $20 off a TV and stuff. But those days are over now. All right, well, I think that's it. Traffic is starting to get really bad, so I'm going to just focus, and I don't want to sit here and just be dead silent. I mean, I am focusing, but I mean, I got to be hyper-focused.